The Monkey King had enjoyed this artless existence for several hundred years when one day, at a feast in which all the monkeys took part, the king suddenly felt very sad and burst into tears. His subjects at once ranged themselves in front of him and bowed down, saying, "Why is your Majesty so sad?" "At present," said the king, "I have no cause for unhappiness, but I have a misgiving about the future, which troubles me sorely." "Your Majesty is very hard to please," said the monkeys, laughing. "Every day we have happy meetings on fairy mountains, in blessed spots, in ancient caves, on holy islands. We are not subject to the unicorn or phoenix, nor to the restraints of any human king. Such freedom is an immeasurable blessing. What can it be that causes you this sad misgiving?" "It is true," said the Monkey King, "that to-day I am not answering to the law of any human king, nor need I fear the menace of any beast or bird. But the time will come when I shall grow old and weak. Yama, King of Death, is secretly waiting to destroy me. Is there no way by which, instead of being born again on earth, I might live forever among the people of the sky?" When the monkeys heard this, they covered their faces with their hands and wept, each thinking of his own mortality. But look, from among the ranks there springs out one monkey commoner, who cries in a loud voice, "If that is what troubles your Majesty, it shows that religion has taken hold upon your heart. There are indeed among all creatures 3 kinds that are not subject to Yama, King of Death." "And do you know which they are?" asked the Monkey King. "Buddhas, immortals, and sages," he said. "These 3 are exempt from the turning of the wheel, from birth and destruction. They are eternal as heaven and earth, as the hills and streams." "Where are they to be found?" asked the Monkey King. "Here on the common earth," said the monkey. "In ancient caves among enchanted hills." The king was delighted with this news. "To-morrow," he said, "I shall say good-bye to you, go down the mountain, wander like a cloud to the corners of the sea, far away to the end of the world, till I have found these 3 kinds of immortals. From them I will learn how to be young forever, and escape the doom of death." This determination it was that led him to leap clear of the toils of reincarnation, and turned him at last into the great monkey sage, equal of heaven. The monkeys clapped their hands and cried aloud, "Splendid! Splendid! Tomorrow we will scour the hills for fruit and berries, and hold a great farewell banquet in honor of our king." Next day they duly went to gather peaches and rare fruits, mountain herbs, yellow sperm, which are unidentified plants, tubers, orchids, strange plants, and flowers of every sort, and set out the stone tables and benches, laid out fairy meats and drinks. They put the Monkey King at the head of the table, and ranged themselves according to their age and rank. The pledge cup, which is a cup used for offering toasts, passed from hand to hand. They made their offerings to him of flowers and fruits. All day long they drank, and next day their king rose early and said, "Little ones, cut some pine wood for me, and make me a raft. Then find a tall bamboo for pole, and put together a few fruits and such like. I am going to start." He got onto the raft all alone, and pushed off with all his might, speeding away and away, straight out to sea, till, favored by a following wind, he arrived at the borders of the South World. Fate indeed had favored him for days on end. Ever since he set foot on the raft, a strong southeast wind blew and carried him at last to the northwest bank, which is indeed the frontier of the southern world. He tested the water with his pole and found that it was shallow, so he left the raft and climbed ashore. On the beach were people fishing, shooting wild geese, scooping oysters, draining salt. He ran up to them and for fun began to perform queer antics which frightened them so much that they dropped their baskets and nets and ran for their lives. One of them, who stood his ground, Monkey caught hold of, and ripping off his clothes, found out how to wear them himself, and so dressed up went prancing through towns and cities, in market and bazaar, imitating the people's manners and talk. All the while his heart was set only on finding the immortals, and learning from them the secret of eternal youth. But he found the men of the world all engrossed in the quest of profit and fame. There was not one who had any care for the end that was in store for him. So Monkey went looking for a way of immortality, but found no chance of meeting it. For 8 or 9 years he went from city to city and town to town, till suddenly he came to the Western Ocean. He was sure that beyond this ocean there would certainly be immortals, and he made for himself a raft like the one he had before. He floated on over the Western Ocean till he came to the Western Continent, where he went ashore. And when he looked about for some time, he suddenly saw a very high and beautiful mountain, thickly wooded at the base. He had no fear of wolves, tigers, or panthers, and made his way up to the very top. He was looking about him when he suddenly heard a man's voice coming from deep amid the woods. He hurried towards the spot and listened intently. It was someone singing, and these were the words that he caught. I hatch no plot, I scheme no scheme, fame and shame are one to me. A simple life prolongs my days, those I meet upon my way are immortals one and all, who from their quiet seats expound the scriptures of the Yellow Court. When Monkey heard these words, he was very pleased. There must then be immortals somewhere hereabouts, he said. He sprang deep into the forest, and looking carefully saw that the singer was a woodman who was cutting brushwood. Reverend Immortal, said Monkey, coming forward, your disciple raises his hands. The woodman was so astonished that he dropped his axe. You have made a mistake, he said, turning and answering this salutation. I am only a shabby, hungry woodcutter. What makes you address me as an immortal, if you are not an immortal? Said Monkey. Why did you talk of yourself as though you were one? What did I say? Asked the woodcutter. That sounded as though I were an immortal. When I came to the edge of the wood, said Monkey, I heard you singing. Those I meet upon my way are immortals, one and all, who from their quiet seats expound the scriptures of the Yellow Court. Those scriptures are secret Taoist texts. What can you be but an immortal? I won't deceive you, said the woodcutter. That song was indeed taught to me by an immortal, who lives not very far from my hut. He saw that I have to work hard for my living, and have a lot of troubles, so he told me when I was worried by anything to say to myself the words of that song. This, he said, would comfort me and get me out of my difficulties. Just now I was upset about something, and so I was singing that song. I had no idea that you were listening. If the immortal lives close by, said Monkey, how is it that you have not become his disciple? Wouldn't it have been as well to learn from him how never to grow old? I have a hard life of it, said the woodcutter. When I was 8 or 9, I lost my father. I had no brothers and sisters, and it fell upon me alone to support my widowed mother. There was nothing for it but to work hard, early and late. Now my mother is old, and I dare not leave her. The garden is neglected. We have not enough either to eat or wear. The most I can do is to cut 2 bundles of firewood, carry them to market, and with a penny or 2 that I get, buy a few handfuls of rice, which I cook myself and serve to my aged mother. I have no time to go and learn magic. From what you tell me, said Monkey, I can see that you are a good and devoted son, and your piety will certainly be rewarded. All I ask of you is that you will show me where this immortal lives, for I should very much like to visit him." "It is quite close," said the woodcutter. "This mountain is called the Holy Terrace Mountain, and on it is a cave called the Cave of the Slanting